Alright, so we are back for another Dokkan battle video, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the banner unit TEQ Baby. Now, I'm sure as most of you know, we do got the Super Saiyan 4 Goku banner dropping within the next couple days on Global, and of course on his banner does have this banner unit right here. Now, this guy is very wonky as a unit. I think it's a very simple case of extreme class fumble, like Dokkan typically does with extreme class units, but that's not to say he's completely horrible, and that's not to say he doesn't have any use in the game. I've said this in a couple videos previously, but he's on a lot of really weak teams. And when I say really weak teams, I mean like really, really weak. So obviously we got stuff like Revenge, Transformation Boost, Inhuman Deeds, Artificial Life Forms, Target Goku, GT Bosses, which all really suck. I mean, maybe there's an argument for like, I guess Revenge, because I know a couple good units are on there. Inhuman Deeds has some of the Goku Blacks. Artificial Life Forms has some good androids units. I know obviously the Gammas are on there, but other than those categories, like, he doesn't have a good category lineup. I mean, obviously, Terrifying Conquerors and Space Traveling Warriors has all the freezes and coolers, which are good, but they're starting to get a little outdated. So his teams really suck. So if this guy would have been like, I don't know, an extreme class support, something like that, then he would have been very beneficial to all of these teams. Or if he was just a really good tank or was able to do a lot of damage, then of course, you know, he would have been extremely beneficial to all these teams. But unfortunately, he's in that gray area of his defense being kind of alright, and then his damage being kind of alright, and he's not a support either. So he's just kind of mid. Like, he's the definition of mid. He's not amazing, but he's not necessarily horrible either. And considering how bad Extreme Class is, well, just Extreme Class as a whole. I was going to say some specific teams, but most Extreme Class teams kind of suck right now. This guy, again, could have been very beneficial to those teams. So right here, we're going to have, what is this, 5 out of 7 links activated. We do have some support from the Hyper Metal Rildo, so we're looking pretty good right here. We're at 353k defense. All right, so there's a lot to keep in mind. First off, we do get 50% attack and defense on Super from our Super Attack effect, so then that's going to put us at, I think, a little over 500k defense, which isn't bad, especially considering you could get the additional Super. So then with an additional Super, you're pushing like 700k defense. And if you bring him type advantage in a difficult event, I mean, that's good enough to tank normals and maybe even survive a super. You're not going to tank the super for like double digits or even low damage, but if you're full on HP, you might be able to survive it. However, he does also get 100% attack and defense on super and is passive. So technically we're approaching a million defense, because if we get 100% the stats on super, that would put us well over 600k, actually to be at 700k defense almost exactly, and then we get the 50%, but I think the 50% defense is from start of turn, so yeah, we'd be at like 900k defense. So 900k defense after we super, it's not bad. Like, that's in that range where you're able to tank normals from some difficult events. Some events are going to do a lot of damage even with their normals to this guy, but super attacks are still going to obliterate this guy pretty much anywhere. I mean, if you run him type advantage, like I said, he might be pretty useful in some difficult events, but most events, their super is just going to absolutely crush this guy. So, 7.5. And his animation looks really clean. For a banner unit, they definitely cooked with this guy. I mean, most banner units' animations, they're not bad, but they're not really, like, flashy or that great. But this guy, it looks really good. So, that's one good thing about him. But you got to keep in mind, we had all of our main links activated right there. And oh my god, his link set is another thing we got to talk about. That's not that good. So he's got a couple good links. Obviously, Big Bad Bosses and Thirst for Conquest is a deadly combination. You know, you got the World Tournament Piccolo who has that. You have pretty much every cooler. And I think every Frieza. I don't know if Friezas have Thirst for Conquest. I kind of forget. But most Friezas have like Big Bad Bosses and stuff like that. So he's got a good link set for a lot of these cooler and Frieza units. But like I said, they are starting to age out a little. So I don't really know how useful that's going to be 6 months from now, but for now, it's pretty good, because if you want to run him next to like one of the coolers, he's going to share a good amount of links with him. But then this guy does also have stuff like Coward and then Hatred of Sands. And I don't think I really need to tell you that those are bad links. I mean, I guess we can look at it really quick just for laughs and giggles. So Coward. I mean, yeah, who are you running this guy next to? Physical Raditz? I guess the Heroes Janemba has that. Who is that, Baby in Janemba? Yeah, I think that's who that is. LR Baby has it. Bojack has it, if you're running this guy next to Bojack for some reason. But, yeah, not a lot of people have that link. And then Hatred of the Sands is pretty much only babies. and then Hijacks, and both of those cards just kind of suck in Dokkan right now. Obviously, there is the LR Hijack, but he's got his own issues with this kit. There's the Easy A Baby, who's really good in terms of his damage, but his defense is a little wonky in some scenarios, so it's not like you can run this guy next to the LR Easy A Baby as a rotation. And then I guess there's the AGL Janemba Baby, but I don't know. They're a dodging unit, but if you don't get the dodges off with them, they're going to take a lot of damage. So his link set is both good and bad. He's got a couple really good links, but then he also has a couple really bad links. So we've got a lot of support right here. We got the free-to-play Rildo giving some attack support, and then we got the other Rildo giving some attack and defense support. I mean, yeah, I guess we can just go ahead and play this rotation out. How many links? 5 out of 7. Yeah, I think the cherry on top with this guy to make him very useful would have just been support. Like, that would have just put the nail in the coffin. He's a good unit. Because then if he's supporting, you know, all these extreme class units, because like I said, he's on some very bad extreme class teams. Like, they're all kind of shit, except for like the ones with the freezes and coolers. But like I said, even that is kind of an issue because the freezes and coolers are starting to get into a range of like, okay, they're not really good anymore. Like the STR LR cooler, he's good once you're fully built up. For those first couple turns, he's only at like 200k defense start of turn. And with all these difficult events now, doing AoEs, having AoEs on their supers, and then stunning and sealing, if they do something like that to the cooler, it just kind of obliterates him. Like, there's really no getting around that. So, that's why I'm saying I think Extreme Class is in a very weird spot. Something that could make this guy a lot better is maybe if we get a Dokkan Fest Baby. That's been something I've been really trying to hype up and get a lot of people on board with that. Maybe if, I don't know, Dokkan sees a lot of people on a Dokkan Fest Baby, they'll do it. But a Dokkan Fest Baby would be really good for the game. He'd be on, obviously, all the teams that this guy's on. So Transformation Boost, Artificial Life Forms, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Revenge, Inhuman Deeds, Space Traveling Warriors, GT Bosses, would all get buffed from that guy. And I think also he'd be on Battle of Fate. So that'd be another good team that he'd be on. So just a lot of potential with the Dokkan Fest Baby. And then obviously it would really bring together a lot of units like this, because then maybe he could be a good Extreme Class support. Maybe he could just be a good support for, like, I don't know, GT Bosses or something like that, because obviously that category still needs a lot of help. I know we got the Carnival LR Omega Shenron, but yeah, that guy was not enough. I think on JP, that category is still one of the worst teams in the game. And we had basically a whole celebration based around it. So I don't know what they're really cooking with GT Bosses, but we still need help for that category desperately. So I hope, you know, Dokkan Fest Baby. I guess maybe like a Dokkan Fest Sin Shenron. That would kind of make sense, but even that, they probably don't want to do that because that's probably like LR worthy. So I don't know. Anyway, on this turn right here, we're at 353k defense. Obviously, he doesn't build up or anything, so his performance is going to kind of stagnate. We can showcase this turn right here, and then we'll go ahead and cut to, I guess, just difficult event. We'll probably bring this guy versus Red Zone Broly, because Baby does actually get extra buffs when you're facing a Pure Sands enemy. I haven't gone over that yet, because I've just been yapping my mouth for the whole video. But, yeah, he does get extra buffs when there's a Pure Sands category enemy, so we'll bring him in Red Zone Broly. Obviously, he has type advantage during the final phase, and then Broly is on Pure Sands, so he'll get that extra attack buff. Yeah, I mean, just kind of mid, right? Not a whole lot to talk about. He's not horrible. His defense can get close to 1 million, and his damage can get somewhat close to 10 million. I mean, if you get really lucky with crits and all that, then your damage will probably be over 10 million. But in terms of his attack stats, he's really chilling at like 7, 8, maybe 9 million if you have a lot of support. But that's another thing you have to keep in mind. This team is stacked with support. Like the Int Garlic Jr. we got on this rotation right here, you're not running him in difficult events. The free-to-play Rildo in slot 3, you're not running him in difficult events. So this isn't necessarily a very realistic showing for this guy. And we'll see in the Red Zone Broly fight how he'll look without support, because I'll try and, you know, take away a lot of these support units, because, yeah, his team's not that great. So with all that said, I guess we can just go ahead and cut to the Red Zone Broly test. It's going to be a pain getting him past that AoE phase, but I guess I'll just bring like a bunch of items or something. Alright, so we're here fighting the final phase of Red Zone Broly. We've got a pretty good turn for Baby. We do have the support from the Easy A Cooler. We're chilling at 4 out of 7 links, so we are missing GT. Keep that in mind. That's a little bit of attack and defense from that. And then, of course, Coward and Hatred of the Sands gives some stats, but mainly GT because that 10% defense. We're here at 344k defense, though. Pretty good, because, again, we get the 50% on Super, and we get the 100% on Super from our passive. So if you have him in slot 2 or something like that, in an event like this specifically, where he's got type advantage, he can actually look pretty impressive. So we're going to go ahead and play this rotation out. If we get supered first thing, I don't know, man. I think we're going to take some damage. All right, well, double digits even before we supered. So that is pretty impressive, because then now, obviously, we get all the stats on super, and then, obviously, we're still going to take double digits. Can we take a super? I'm curious how much he'd take from this. Ah, no super. All right. Cooler, I'm going to need you not to get supered. If this guy gets supered, I think we're dead, if I'm being honest, because, I mean, you know, the Cooler, he's good, but you got to get your stacks in with him. I haven't gotten that lucky with stacking. Oh, yeah, 100k. All right. Oh, look at Janemba, 9.6. Dude, this Janemba can still cook. He's crazy, man. You build up with him, and then he's amazing. He's got that guard in slot 1 or 2, and then obviously he's building up, I think, in slot 2 and 3. So if you just keep him in slot 2 for the first couple turns, then he's going to look pretty good. Oh, now we're taking a super. Okay. I want to try and play this next turn. So I think what I'm going to do, yeah, we'll do this to help build up with the Cooler, because I want this Cooler to survive. And then we're going to put him in slot 3. Or no, we're going to keep him in slot 2 so he doesn't take that many attacks. And yeah, we play it like this. I think we could actually survive here. Or no, we should survive here. We're definitely good. As long as the Cooler doesn't take like 500k from this super. Or from this normal, which I don't think he will. Oh, look at that. We're not even taking the super too. Yeah, we're fine. We're chilling. We're chilling. So on the next turn, we can showcase the baby in a little bit more of a better position. Hopefully we'll actually take a super with him, because I want to see how much he's taking. Like I said, I think with this baby, if you bring him in an event where he has type advantage, he's in that range where he's not necessarily tanking double digits, but I do think he's going to take relatively lower damage. Like, he's probably not going to take like 10k or 20k, but he'll take maybe like 100k from a super, which does solidify his role on, I guess, some of these extreme class teams. If you want to take on, I don't know, one of the red zone stages where you need to do one of the missions to do it with a full extreme class team. If you want to throw the baby just as like a slot 3 floater and then just have him do his thing, let him get a super off. I mean, I guess that could be pretty good. And honestly, if you go like full dodge with him and he's dodging some of these supers and normals, I guess he will have some pretty good value. So yeah, maybe giving him just a little bit of additionals and then mainly dodge, because then the additionals would be good, because obviously he gets that 50% defense on super. And if you get 2 supers, then his defense goes from like, what, a little under 1 million to well over 1 million. So additionals having built in definitely is good for him, but I wouldn't really recommend any crits. He's already tech, so he's got the base 5 crit, and then dodge obviously would be a lot more useful for him. So I think primarily going full dodge would be smart. All right, so where are we taking the super? Okay, we're just not taking a super. All right. Or maybe the Scouter wore off. So I guess we'll just put him in slot 1. I think both of the Coolers would die in slot 1, so we kind of have to play it like this. But yeah, good rotation. Once again, 50% support from the STR Cooler, the one in slot 2. And then we're getting the Dokkan mode as well. Okay, and we're getting supered first thing. How much is it doing? Keep in mind, we are missing out on a lot of stats right here, because this is before we supered. Yeah, 319k. So that's a lot of damage. But if we got the super off first, would we have taken double digits? We might. I'm not even worried about the Dokkan mode. Yeah, sorry. I can't do the Dokkan mode and commentary at the same time. I always mess up either the Dokkan mode or I'll mess up my commentary. But yeah, dude, I mean, 6 million crit, and we survived the super before we super attacked. So there's some value right there. I mean, look, I've been calling this guy mid throughout the video, but definitely wasn't looking horrible here. So I guess with all that said, we could just go ahead and start going over his kit. I'll just put an image of it on the screen. So this is going to be a little bit different than how I normally do the unit breakdowns, but you probably see the image, and we'll just go ahead and start reading it. So to start off with his leader skill, it is Revenge or Inhuman Deeds category key +3, HP attack and defense plus 130%. Now 130% to his leader skill obviously sucks, but it's a ban unit, so it's exactly what we expected. Other than if you're new to the game or free to play, you're probably not going to have any use with that lead. And then his super attack effect is that he gets 50% attack and defense for 1 turn, and then causes supreme damage to enemy. So the 50% to stats is really good. 50% attack and defense on his super attack effect is very beneficial. I think most units who have that, like, you want to give them some additionals, and that's why I was talking earlier, maybe giving him, I don't know, 9 additional. That's like the highest I would go in his hidden potential system. And then after that, obviously full dodge. So definitely good super attack effect. And then his passive is that he gets 3 key, 150% attack and defense, and then an additional 100% attack and defense on super. And then he gets an additional 100% defense, attacks guaranteed to crit, and then performs a guaranteed critical hit. And then he stuns the attacked enemy when there's a Pure Sands or Hybrid Sands category enemy. That is very useful. So getting the guaranteed crit, and then I guess if the enemy has some dodge, You don't got to worry about that. And then the extra 100% defense is very useful, but that is only restricted to a Pure Stance or Hybrid Stance category enemy. And most events right now don't have that. So you got to be very careful where you're bringing this guy in. And then also he gets 3 key and then 180% attack when there's a Pure Stance category enemy. And then he gets another 3 key and 180% attack when there's a Hybrid Stance category enemy. So obviously, one big thing missing from this guy's kit is guard, damage reduction, dodge, support, any good utility like that. But this guy does have a lot of stats, and I guess he's got those crits built in, so his damage can look pretty impressive. And if you're facing a Pure Stance or Hybrid Stance category enemy, like I said, he can look pretty impressive in terms of his defense as well. But you really have to make sure you're facing one of those enemies. I think we only brought him in events where you're facing a Pure Stance or Hybrid Stance category enemy in this video. But without that, you're missing the 100% defense and then also 180% attack. So definitely something you're going to want to keep in mind when running this guy. And then his link set, we already went over it, but we'll just briefly go over it again. Got Metamorphosis, Coward, Big Bad Bosses, Thirst for Conquest, GT, Hatred of the Sands, Fierce Battle. So a couple links in there are good, but a couple of them also suck. Again, already talked about it, so we'll just finish that. And then his categories are Transformation Boost, Artificial Life Forms, Terrifying Conquerors, Target Goku, Revenge, Inhuman Deeds, Space Traveling Warriors, and then GT Bosses. So that is the showcase on the Ban Unit Baby. Let me know what you guys are thinking of this guy down in the comments. And let me know if you guys do want to pull him on the LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku's banner. I know a lot of you are summoning, but I don't know what you guys are thinking of this unit. Because honestly, you know, he's kind of mid. I could see an argument for him being really bad, and I could see an argument for him actually having a lot of use in this game. So that's why me personally, I'm kind of caught in the middle. That's why I just called him mid a lot, because I don't know. I could go either way with him. So once again, that has been the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.